Good morning, everybody. Yes, the second annual fundraiser for St. Joseph's Las Vegas begins today. And I want to give you a little bit of a backstory. A couple years ago, 3 years ago, I was wandering down in downtown Las Vegas, and I stumbled into this church, and I immediately was struck with the beauty inside. And I didn't think much about it. Went on with my days and stuff. But then another day, as you guys know, I stay downtown. I'm looking over, coming out of my hotel, and I see all these tables set up. And there's like well over like 100 people that are eating there, with like 50 more people in line. And I'm like, what is going on down here? What is this all about? I thought it was like a special event or something like that. But as I looked into it and I got more intrigued, I found out that the pastor, Father Courtney Creer, who's been at that church for now going into his 31st year, about 21 years ago, decided to institute a daily feed for whoever shows up, regardless of race, color, sexual orientation. Everybody is always welcome there. And I thought to myself, wow, among other things, I thought to myself, how does this guy pull all of this off and stick with this for 20 years? And basically, there's not one paid person at that whole church, right? Everybody's been there and volunteering. We've had people from New Zealand that have come up just specifically as part of their vacation to take time out to serve meals. It's been astounding. And at first, my heart was pretty hard. I don't know. I'd look at some of the people and say, wow, this guy could get a job, or that person could get a job. And, we're used to in life making sort of rapid judgments about. We look at a situation, we look at some of the participants, and we come to the conclusion that, these people should be taking care of themselves. And by and large, maybe some of them should. But then you integrate yourself into the program. You get involved in seeing what's required for having people procure food, number one. And going out every other day to these convenience stores like 7-Eleven, Quick Marks, Quick Stops, and places like that, and gathering in the hot dogs, the taquitos, the donuts, right, the chicken, the sandwiches, all of that stuff that would otherwise find its way into a garbage bin. They have volunteers. It's always the same ones that go out and collect all of that stuff up from the store and bring it back and store it. And along with people that prepare food at home, bring that in on a daily basis, serve it to anywhere between 100 and 200 people per day. I started to grasp the scope of this, and I thought, this is, what's the opposite of a top-heavy organization? Well, it's one that's bottom-heavy. Like I said, there's nobody paid in that operation for anything down there, and the food and things are donated, and many of you have donated much food. I put out the rally cry 4 or 5 times a year, and within 5 days there's a flood of food that comes in, packaged goods, huge cans of chili and pasta and rice and noodles and peas and corn. It's just astounding to see the generosity and the beauty of people when it comes to doing something for other people. Well, anyway, getting back to our story, as I started to get integrated into this program and helping to set up tables and take down tables and stand there in a line while people were being fed, I wanted to observe. And the one thing I noticed was that most of the people that had come down there were basically unemployable in a capacity, either because, and we can talk about self-inflicted and blah, 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 but what about after self-infliction with drugs and alcohol and things like that? What's to become of people that fall between the cracks. And this is an operation. This is a feeding program and a act of mercy that basically should be called falling between the cracks. Meaning that these are people that can't get along in regular programs. They can't even, most of them don't have the wherewithal and the mental acuity to even get a bus pass, to even avail themselves of traditional services and other places that might be available. This is it. And if you look at a lot of the people that come through there, literally some of them look like scarecrows in there, and it's scary. And I hate to say, but on an average year, 5 to 8 of those people that come in die on the streets. Many of them right at the steps of the church. And that just reminded me the story of Lazarus from the Bible, where Lazarus, there was a rich man who Lazarus would beg for crumbs at his front door. And he would say, no, just get this bum away from my door. And then Lazarus would say, just the stuff that you would feed to the dogs, I'd be happy with. Well, it didn't end well for Lazarus. And I think the moral of the story is it just doesn't just benefit the person of whom we decide to help. It also benefits us in ways that sometimes we can't even calculate. And I finally decided one day in line when Father Creer turned to him and said, wow, these people are so varied, right? Do you ever get tired of doing this? Do you have 20 years? I mean, I've stood out there roasting heat of 111 degrees at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. Just dying there. And I thought to myself, oh, and also in the bitter cold of December out there in the rain, and I thought that they feed them no matter what. And I thought to myself, you know what? I would stick a fork in me after about 6 months. I am done. I can't even imagine 21 years of doing that. And I just said, do you ever get tired of this? Does this ever just wear you down? And he just turned to me and said, look at every person in this line. That's somebody's son. That's somebody's daughter. That's somebody's mother. That's somebody's father. All of those people meant something to someone at one time in their lives. This is a place where they will matter again, right here. When they come here for the morning feeding, they all matter to us. And on my watch, I'm not going to see anybody dropping dead because of hunger, thirst, and all that. And he tells you in some of the stories that I relate in his background on the church's channel about when he first came there and decided to institute the program, because 4 or 5 times a week they were calling emergency medical services to take away people either on death's door or dead in front of the church. It's so easy to slip between the cracks of society, and with organized charities these days, it's so easy to look at a problem and say, well, they have an organization that'll take care of that, right? They have programs. United Way must be doing something for these people. And it's easy for us to put charity on an institutional level. In other words, somebody else is already taking care of it. But you know what? The sum total of charity is always the sum total of individuals who, with cooperative efforts, work together to give the appearance of a general organization that does work. But on that individual level is the power that powers everything. Sometimes when we look at somebody on the street and, well, they must be in some kind of program or something, they can get this here, they can get this there. Doesn't often happen. And in doing so, we kind of turn our back and we can sort of lay off our individual obligation to be charitable to others, assuming that someone else is already taking care of it. I can tell you on a grassroots level, It is very, very, very difficult. And it's something that has had to be coped with for a long time down there. But it's not just that. You know, I've done a lot of work, as you've seen, to try to do some maintenance, to just basically struggle to keep the church standing there. And all through the day when I would be working, there would just be constant, hey, can I get something to eat? Hey, you know, I need $5. I need $15 to buy a bus pass. Hey, I need a cup. Do you have a cup so that I can get some water? Hey, my husband's been laid off for 2 weeks. Could we get a couple bags of groceries? Hey, could I please have a pair of shoes? I mean, I don't want to get tears in my eyes when I see some of the stuff that's passed through the door, and your heart just can't help it, you know, to just rise. I wanted to get through this without this, but it's quite a situation, and you can't help but feeling sad, sorry, and you can't help but feeling, I'm going to do something that's going to have an immediate impact today. Even if I have to sort through 10 bags of mismatched shoes to find something that's going to fit you in there. Well, it certainly helped turn my life around to be more charitable and more thoughtful. And yes, I know there's probably 1,000 places like that in America, but this is the one that I found myself in. So in kicking off this second annual fundraiser, I'm happy to say that in total, due to the incredible generosity of well over 125 donors, there was something on the order of over $13,000 that were raised by you last year through your incredible kindness. This year, I've set once again a goal of $10,000. I'm not stupid. I know the financial pressures that people are under in life. There's a lot of things that I would love to do that I realize in my life I'm never going to do, and it's probably the same way in your life, but that doesn't diminish my happiness. Because when we get something, it's wonderful, but when we give, it's incredible. We get a feeling that is not often duplicated in our psyche and in our conscience when we do something, when we look at somebody's face, or we imagine somebody getting that pair of shoes at the door, or those 2 bags of grocery to see the family through for a couple weeks, or that hot meal on a rainy, cold, blustery day in downtown Las Vegas. Now, some people say, well, it's great to have a fundraiser, but do you have some of your own skin in the game? And of course, I always do the initial seeding, and I've pledged myself throughout the fundraiser to give sizable donations on at least a weekly basis as we move forward to the 26th of November, when I will have the mega stream. And we will do that 10-hour marathon stream to wrap it up. I've also decided that to recommit myself to making sure that this institution, this church, continues to function. I can't do it by being a clerical person. I can't do it by being a minister, a priest, a rabbi, etc. But I know what I can do to do my part to make the church more beautiful, to keep the church physically sound, maintenance upkept. Things that basically Father Creer, a total one-man band, doesn't really have the time or the talent to do. So I've also decided, you will see, as I'm in Las Vegas this time, that I will be undertaking, I earned a nice chunk of money, a nice compensation for the 2-week rental turnaround that I did. So I'm going to be vesting that money towards purchasing paint, a lift, And with the intermittent help of Mr. Z, I am planning to paint the exterior of the church and make it as beautiful as I can possibly make it, to continue to be a beacon of hope and light in a place that exists literally in the shadows of casinos where millions of dollars are gambled on a daily basis. Yes, I've stood out there once in a while and I've thought to myself, oh, if we could just have 1 hour's cash flow at one of these casinos, right? If we could just raise the flag and say we're under attack here and we're desperate and we need help and we're being overrun by costs, circumstances, equipment breaks down. The monies used will be used for additional equipment, just as it was last year. It will also be used to supplement some of the food stocks on an as-needed basis. It will not go for general church activities. It will be dedicated monies towards the program, the daily feeding. So, having said that, I want to thank you if you choose to participate. I also want to thank those of you who donated last year. In addition, as is my custom for the month of November when I do the fundraiser, because I have much to be thankful in my life, I turn off the super chats, the super stickers, and the super thanks on my channel and ask you at any point in the month, if you felt so inclined to support my channel, I ask you to redirect your donation to the fundraiser, and you will see the fundraiser below every live stream and every video for the month of November, right up through I hope it's a glorious day, the 26th, Tuesday the 26th of November. As we wrap this up, it should be a heck of a trip coming up. In closing, bless you, thank you for your whatever generosity you can extend, and if you can share this out, I would be most appreciative. Have a wonderful day, everyone.